Hello, welcome to the Mark Janard Show, the cybersecurity show. I'm going to talk about the best way to install Kali Linux into a VirtualBox for 2024. This is the best and easiest way. No way is better than this, right? I will discuss what is Kali Linux in this video, the benefits of installing Kali Linux on VirtualBox, how to install Kali Linux on VirtualBox for 2024, how to optimize Kali Linux performance in VirtualBox, and the best settings for CPU and RAM when running Kali Linux in VirtualBox. So let's start. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going dark. So Kali Linux is specialized open source operating system designed primarily for penetration testing, security auditing, and digital forensics. It is based on the Debian Linux distribution and was developed by Offensive Security, evolving from the earlier Backtrack Linux distribution. Key features of Kali Linux, right? You have the extensive tool set. Kali Linux comes with, pre-installed with over 600 tools specifically tailored for various security tasks, including network analysis, penetration testing, vulnerability detection, right? And so on and so on. Notable tools include Nmap, that's the network scanner, Metasploit, that's the penetration testing framework, and the Wireshark, that is packet analyzer, right? It's open source and it's free. Kali Linux is completely free to use and is developed under an open source model, allowing users to modify and distribute the software. Now, when it comes to, there is a multi-platform support aspect of it, right? It supports a wide range of hardware, including ARM devices like Raspberry Pi, and can be run on various platforms such as virtual machines, USB drives, and even Windows through the Windows the subsystem for Linux. Now, it's very customizable. Users can customize their Kali Linux installations extensively, including the ability to create tailored ISO images for specific tasks through meta packages. And there is a little bit of security focus, right? Or maybe a lot. The distribution is developed with security in mind, featuring a custom kernel patched for wireless injection and GPG sign packages to ensure integrity. Now, who basically uses it? Well, Kali Linux is intended for experienced users, particularly security professionals and ethical hackers. It is not recommended for beginners due to its complexity, right? And the specific knowledge required to effectively utilize its tools. Now, why would we even use Kali Linux, right? Why? Here's the benefits, right? Installing Kali Linux on VirtualBox offers several benefits for users. Particularly in cybersecurity and penetration testing, right? Isolation and safety. Running Kali Linux in a virtual machine provides a sandboxed environment, protecting your host system from potential security risk or unintended consequences of penetration testing tools. There's also flexibility and convenience. You can run Kali Linux alongside your primary operating system without the need for dual booting, allowing easy switching between environments. You have snapshots and rollbacks. VirtualBox allows you to create snapshots of your Kali Linux installation, making it easy to revert to a clean state after testing or if something goes wrong, right? And we ain't saying nothing. A recent cyber attack that just happened. Learning environment for beginners. Using Kali Linux in a virtual machine is recommended as it provides safer environment to learn and experiment without affecting the host system. There's hardware compatibility. Running Kali Linux in VirtualBox can help avoid potential hardware compatibility issues that might arise from a direct installation. You have easy setup and removal, right? Installing Kali Linux on VirtualBox is generally simpler than setting up a dual boot system, and it can be easily removed if no longer needed, right? And there's also multiple instances. You can run multiple instances of Kali Linux with different configurations or versions for various testing scenarios. Resource management. VirtualBox allows you to allocate specific amounts of resources like RAM, CPU core, storage to the Kali Linux VM, helping to optimize performance on your system. So, while Kali Linux in VirtualBox does have some limitations, very little, such as potentially reduced performance compared to a direct installation and possible limitations with wireless network card access, the benefits of security, flexibility, and ease of use make it popular, in my opinion, a more popular choice for many users, especially those new to Kali Linux or penetration testing. Now, let's get into it. How do we install Kali Linux on VirtualBox in 2024? Hey, I got y'all. So here's how to install Kali Linux on VirtualBox in 2024. Number one, download and install VirtualBox from the official website. You're going to want to download the latest Kali Linux ISO image. Current version is I believe it's the 2024.1 from the official Kali Linux website. Open VirtualBox and click on New to create new virtual machine. Name your VM Kali Linux, select Linux as the type and choose Debian 64-bit as the version. Allocate at least 2 GB of RAM, 4 GB or more recommended, and 2 CPU cores or more to the VM. Create a new virtual hard disk, selecting VDI format and allocating at least 25 GB of space. Please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and the like button. Please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and the like button. So in the virtual machine settings, go to the storage section and add the Kali Linux ISO file to the virtual optical drive. Start the virtual machine and begin the Kali Linux installation process. Follow the on-screen instructions to install Kali Linux, selecting your preferred options for language, location, keyboard layout, and desktop environment. Once the installation is complete, reboot the VM and log in using the credentials you set during installation. After logging in, open a terminal and run the following commands to update the system. Peter, put that code on the screen right now for the viewers. Put that code on the screen right now for the viewers. Now that y'all got that code, to improve virtual machine performance, you can install VirtualBox guest editions. Peter, put that text on the screen for the viewers. Put that text on the screen for the viewers. Put that text on the screen for the viewers. For the viewers. For the viewers. If do this in the chat, guys, in the comments when y'all receive this video, if y'all got the So remember to allocate sufficient resources to your virtual machine for optimal performance, especially if you plan to use resource extensive tools or intensive tools. Also ensure that hardware virtualization is enabled in your computer's BIOS settings before starting the installation process. So now that we talked about installation, how can you optimize Kali Linux performance in VirtualBox? My way is better than your way, okay? My way is better than your way. Your way is trash, and I'm gonna tell you how my way is. To optimize Kali Linux performance in VirtualBox, you can follow these steps. Install VirtualBox guest editions. This improves overall performance and enables better integration between the host and guest systems. Allocate sufficient resources to your virtual machine, at least 2 GB of RAM, but again, we talked about it, 4 GB or more is recommended for better performance. Now, increase the number of CPU cores. If you have a multi-core processor, consider allocating 2 to 4 cores to the virtual machine. Use a fixed disk sized instead of dynamically allocating storage when creating the virtual machine. This reduces file fragmentation and improves disk access speed. Then you're going to want to enable 3D acceleration in the virtual machine settings under the display section. This can significantly improve graphical performance, though it may be removed in future VirtualBox versions. Increase video memory to the maximum allowed, that's the 128 megabits in the virtual machine settings. Install the preload application to improve commonly used program load times. This will automatically preload frequently used binaries and dependencies into memory. Use BleachBit to clean up unnecessary files and free disk. Ensure your host system has hardware virtualization enabled in the BIOS settings. Keep both VirtualBox and Kali Linux updated to their latest versions for optimal performance and compatibility. Consider using a lightweight desktop environment if you don't need all the features of the default Kali desktop. So by implementing these optimizations, you should see a noticeable improvement in your Kali Linux virtual machine's performance within VirtualBox. Okay. Now let's look at the best settings for CPU and RAM when running Kali Linux in VirtualBox. CPU, again, allocate 2 to 4 CPU cores to the Kali Linux virtual machine. If you want to give the virtual machine about 50 to 60% of your host CPU power, you can allocate up to 8 CPUs for a high performance setup. Ensure that hardware virtualization, right, that's the VTX/AMD V, is enabled in your host BIOS settings. And then lastly, enable PAE, NX, and nested paging in the VM processor settings. Now, again, allocate at least 2 GB of RAM, but 4 to 8 GB is recommended for better performance for the RAM. The exact amount depends on your host system's total RAM and the tasks you plan to run Kali Linux.